Hello. So, this is going to be the second time we're trying to film this, guys. I should have brought my camera mount with me so I could have driven and actually mounted the car, phone to the car, sorry. If you saw last week's video, you'll be waiting for me now, which I'm doing today, to give the response of what the car status is in terms of possible head gasket issue, possible liner, or even valve seals. So just going to give you the backstory. I did film a video on Monday as soon as I got it out of the garage, and all was well, but things have seemed to change, which is really annoying. I'm going to get someone to park up and I will give you the info. So hello, the story is, on Monday the car was in the garage as I told you last week, and it had valve seals checked, sniff test and compression test. Sorry about the dog in the background, by the way, it's really annoying. All those come back completely fine, which is really reassuring. Something I've not told you yet, I've actually sold my Dream Science IMAP software. Don't get me wrong, it's an amazing bit of kit, but the mechanics told me the reason I've got some of these minor symptoms are due to the fact that the stage 2 I was running was never specifically made for my car. Yeah, specifically, if you get what I'm trying to say. Those maps are generic. Those maps are made for a wide range of STs with specific modifications. They're not designed for my car specifically, if you see what I'm saying. Every car's data will be different. So long story short, that definitely aided to why I've got these symptoms. I'm not doubting Dream Science in any way. Obviously that's what you do if you're going to go for generic tunes. The way to go is custom, so the tuner can read the data from your car, the temperatures, and the specific different mods you've got, and apply your tune to those mods specifically. Once again, my hair's an absolute frizzball. I think it's been about 7 months that I've had a haircut, so please forgive my mop. Going back to the car, the mechanic then took the car for a drive up and down the road with with low to moderate boost, just getting a feel for the car, seeing how it responds to it, trying to recreate the issues if anything, which he couldn't do. Long story short, we got the car back and the car drove completely fine. Bearing in mind I was driving it like a little bit of a grandad, not letting it boost up to full, bearing in mind on a standard tune, which is on now, it's back to stock tune completely, stock power. It will only boost to halfway anyway, but I wasn't letting it get to that level. Turning it on every time it starts full time. Like you saw at the very start of the video, I switch on every morning and it's completely fine. No issues with it at all. But here's the issue. I took it for a little spin the other day with more hard boost. I wanted to see how the car's going to react to me driving it like most people are going to drive an ST, with more boost when you've got an open road. I took the car back home, lifted up the bonnet and noticed that my coolant was low. It's not burning off the coolant, but what's happening is my pistons are generating so much, obviously they generate so much pressure, it's pushing that air from the combustion chamber through a minor crack, whether that's in the head gasket or potentially the liner. So that air is then going into my coolant pipes, making them solid. You then have to let the car cool down and slowly release your reservoir cap, and the pressure gets released and the coolant goes back up to the normal level again. The reason my cylinders are getting wet, well, cylinder 2 is getting wet, is from that small crack where the air's coming through. Bloody hell, that dog made me shit myself. Coolant or oil is getting back into cylinder 2 from the crack where the air is coming out of. But that only happens when the car is driven hard, hence why I can drive it completely fine normally. So yeah, the reason I'm still able to drive the car just as normally is those symptoms are only recreated once I'm driving the car on full boost. That's only when there's enough pressure in the cylinders to allow air and coolant through that crack, wherever it is. The garage think it's more likely the head gasket than the liner. Obviously there's still the chance it's the liner 100%, but the symptoms being so minor and the test that they carried out leads them to the point where they think it would be the head gasket, which is obviously probably half the price to fix than a liner would be. Which then, this brings me on to the debate whether I sell the car or do I put the money in to fix it. And unfortunately, I have come to the decision to sell the car. I'm probably going to sell some of the parts and put some of the stock parts back on to make the money back. But realistically, this car is going to have to go for cheap, due to the fact of this potential head gasket and liner issue. Don't get me wrong, I love this car to pieces. I've learnt a lot while owning this car and all that kind of stuff, but yeah, it's just going to be it would be a pain in the ass. I need to get to work. I could break the car and sell it for parts, but I need the money all at once ideally to get this next car. My plan now is to get something for work, something a bit more economical, something I can save while owning, which is quite hard to do when you've got this car. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that. And then get myself a really nice sporty weekend car that I've wanted for a while. Not going to give any clues away yet because I'm still deciding between loads of different cars because I'm really indecisive. But this car is going to be selling. It would be a shame to see this car go for such a cheap price, because the most frustrating part is that the symptoms are so minor, yet it's either going to be one of the two things, head gasket or liner. Head gasket or liner, which is an expensive fix. It would kind of be, I could justify it more if there was smoke pouring out of it every time and it started lumpy every time, because it would make me fall out of love with the car way more if it was just that buggered, if you know what I mean. But the fact that it starts first time every time, providing that you've driven the car sensibly beforehand, you know, every time it starts perfectly. That's what, you know, as you saw at the start of the video, I started it first time cold start and it was fine. I mean, if I just show you now, turn the car off, let me flip the camera around 2 seconds. I'll forget to turn the car back on. No lumpy start, no smoke at all. So I guess I'm lucky in the sense that I've still got a usable car until I do sell it, until it does disappear. Because at the end of the day, if my car was that buggered I couldn't get to work, then I'd be well and truly screwed. So I'm going to say this now, if any of you are interested in, I've had so many messages already, if any of you are interested in the car itself, give me a message. What I'll do is, I'll link my Facebook below, so give me a message, or Instagram. Potentially sell the turbo to crossover pipe, intercooler, and the rest would probably have to stay, as I've not got some of the original parts to put back on. So I need it legal to drive. I can't like take the bloody exhaust off and drive it like just from downpipe onwards. So yeah, got to sell the parts realistically. They will be a fair price. They've been on the car not for very long. They're all in good condition, so give me a message if you are interested. And if you're interested in the car itself, give me a message. It's a shame, really. It is a shame thinking about it, but it is what it is. The next weekend car will be 10 times better than this, so look out for it. To kind of wrap up the video, guys, the main two things that have caused this issue on my car, number one being the tune. I don't have a block mod on the car, I don't have fully forged internals. If I did have both of those things, this issue would not have happened. Block mod, you're looking at 650 quid. I did debate it was going to get it done. Luck of the draw with these cars, it's a bit of a lottery, as they say. Fully forged, you're looking at £5,000 to £6,000, maybe a bit less, maybe a bit more, depending on what spec you go for, what type of forging you want. Obviously that's just completely reinforcing your pistons, so on. Your car's bulletproof to an extent. The tune causing this issue being the heat, the pressure in the combustion chambers. Eventually it's going to find a weak spot, whether it's in the head gasket or liners. It will make a small crack. The garage think this issue is so small, it will be such a small hairline crack, hence why it will only do it when the car's been driven to its maximum. There's some people in forums that when they turn the car on every time the same thing happens and it doesn't stop pouring out smoke, because their crack is so big, there's constant fluid going into the spark plug that's being burnt off, causing the smoke, which obviously isn't the case in this car. So yeah, the tune. And there was one other thing that I haven't mentioned yet, which isn't really relevant now, but at the time it made me think, this is what caused it. And they found out that my head gasket bolts weren't torqued down enough when the car got to them, which obviously would, in theory, allow a small amount of coolant or oil over the top of the head gasket into the combustion chambers because it wasn't squished down enough. But now that that's still happening, tells me that that wasn't really the issue, or it's reduced the issue, but I've still got that small crack wherever it is. So yeah, it was the worst, unfortunately, guys. It wasn't valve seals, which I wish it was, but yeah, bollocks. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there, guys. I thought I'd give you an update, which I promised I'd do. This is Sunday now, so it might be up at some point this evening on the Sunday. Yeah, I hope you did enjoy it, guys. Please give it a thumbs up. Give me a message if you're interested in any of the parts. I'll see you next week. Peace.